Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Master Teacher Retraction back with another podcast. And in this podcast, I wanted to talk about something that I can't talk about on YouTube, Facebook, some Google bloggers, anything like that. Okay, because they would literally take this down. And this isn't for everyone that's going to listen, but for whoever is open or has been opened up to be able to receive the information that I am about to say. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about this pandemic in a totality aspect and what they're trying to do. Okay. You don't have to believe me or not, but I've been kind of noting to this type of stuff. I've been trying to show you guys to other people if you don't believe me. Um, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, and then it'll help somebody. I know that. So I was privileged to being able to work in the medical field. Okay, I was in a situation where my mom was able to help me be put into Vet Tech Institute of Fox College. And if you hear trucks off to the side, that's because we're off to the side of the expressway. So sorry about that. But I was, privileged to be in that situation. Okay. I got certified as a veterinary technician. So what I was a licensed veterinary technician, basically. Okay, in the state of Illinois. Um, and with that, I was able to work hand by foot with veterinarians, pretty much side by side. It's pretty much comparable to a registered nurse. Okay, so I was able to gain a lot of experience, ask questions that the public couldn't ask, get a lot of insider information and things of that nature that the public won't see. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was another influenza or virus, because they're basically the same thing. Influenza is a virus. Um, But it always seems like they're always trying to use a virus. It's never a bacteria. It's never a fungi. It's never anything else other than a virus, okay, or a flu. All right, that should have helped out the background noise. So I was privy to a lot of hidden knowledge and things that the public would not see, because as you guys know, you'll you can only see past you can't see past the doors. When that doctor comes, that door he comes through, when he's coming in to, diagnose you and ask you all the questions, you can't see past that door. Most of them won't let you see past that door. Okay? And there's reasons as to why, because a lot of the clients run on an emotional plane, and they may see something they may not understand, like the way that they get blood or something like that, or give medication. They may not understand the way it's being given and things of that nature. So there's some logic behind why they do that, but also understand that past them doors and beyond, it is some stuff that's bigger than them hospitals that's going on. So as you guys know, what we was getting into was canine influenza virus. Okay, it was a huge epidemic. A lot of you guys may not even remember it, but at that time it was a huge epidemic, because they were saying that this virus was going around killing people's dogs at an alarming rate. And they were struggling to get a vaccine out. Okay. Um, Kind of like what they're trying to do with this coronavirus right now. And with the canine influenza virus, it was going around what they were saying, killing dogs. But from my eyes and from my extensive medical background knowledge and physiology, all this stuff, I had to learn a lot of stuff. Okay. Um, from my knowledge, when a dog would come in, okay, we would have to treat everything as canine influenza virus. You guys can look this virus up. All right. And I think they still vaccinate for it. Okay, even though it wasn't really a big deal. We had to treat every dog that had sneezing or coughing symptoms. It's always dry cough, sneezing, flu-like symptoms. Okay, the reason they pick these symptoms is because these are the most abundant symptoms throughout all diseases. Okay, whenever you feel sick, that's just a natural response to the human body to anything. Okay, so they could use that to back up any disease that they trying to push. Okay, so they tried testing it out on the dogs first. Okay, to see how people would respond. People were responding like they had the virus, but little did they know it was a species specific virus. Okay, as you know, as we was told. So anything that was coming in with a cough or sneezing, it would be treated as canine influenza virus. So we bring them into a room. We would wipe the room down and everything with chlorhexidine solution, which I don't even see them use anymore. I guess they came out with some better stuff since then. But we use chlorhexidine since it kills a whole bunch of stuff. It's a broad spectrum killer. Uh, um, so even when dogs would come in, have allergies, I kid you not, the doctors was instructed by the CDC, just like what they're doing right now. Okay, they were instructed by the CDC to take nasal swabs. Okay, and then they had to send that into the lab because it was a public health concern. Okay, that's what they called it, a public health concern. All right, so since it was a public health concern, they used that to go ahead. So let me back up. So the canine influenza virus, public health concern. So anything that was coming in talking about some coughing and sneezing, they would diagnose that as canine influenza virus. Okay, even if it was just they had some dust coming to their nose, and then the owner was concerned because it was all over the news. They bring them to the hospital, even though they was just having some allergies because of the food that they eat and it was fucked up. Okay, if you're feeding your dog kibbles and bits, pedigree dry food with all these fillers and all these things that cause inflammation, then that is what's making your dog age faster. They say that your dog is only supposed to live to 10 years old on average. Your dog can live longer than that. Okay? Or at least have a better quality of life, because once they hit 10 years old, they look like a completely different dog with all these lumps. They lose a lot of their teeth. Caries, which is cavities in their teeth. They get a lot of teeth pulled. Because that used to be one of the main things that I would do as a licensed veterinarian technician. I would literally do all these dental cleanings. Okay, it'd probably be like 2 or 3 dental cleanings every day for like 3 or 4 times. Okay, and it just saddened me to see all this going on. And I know, I used to be a person that look at the medical field as, oh man, they're helping people. People get diabetes, they have somewhere to go to. They have all these illnesses, they can go somewhere and get help. But Then I started looking at how they run things, and that coronavirus, no, canine influenza virus was something they was testing with, okay? Because they was pushing it in the news, okay? They have to push it in the news to get people all flustered up emotionally, okay? Because people, for whatever reason, believe everything that the news says. So that's why they put it on the news, okay? And then the news get their marketing and advertising dollars. Because when they, having all that attention onto the news, what people gonna do? They gonna put all their advertising, all their ads and the commercials around them times, because they know a lot of people is looking for that because they emotionally connected to it. Okay, just like with this influenza virus, because people emotionally connected to their pets. And since they were saying in the news that a lot of pets were dying, even if it had a little small cough or something that was from something else, ate the wrong food, ate some brownies with some weed in it, they take it to the veterinarian. Okay, I would ask questions, basic triage, and then I'll let the doctor know, okay, this is what's going on, blah blah blah, blase blah. And then the doctor come in, ask pretty much the same questions, just to make sure everything's confirmed. And then uh you know, per the CDC, we would have to send in these nasal swabs, okay? And then what they do with these nasal swabs, okay? They cannot test for these viruses. Do you understand what I'm saying? They test for antibodies that could be caused from a virus, okay? But they don't know. They don't know what could be caused from that virus yet. That's why they can't come out with the vaccine. Because if they knew what was doing that, then they could be like, okay, we could use that to counteract through a vaccine. All right. But I tell you, even with the vaccines, the dogs that would get routinely vaccinated every year, ended up with a whole bunch of skin issues, dermatitis, hot spots, um, the oil in their skin, they would produce too much oil and then start to get flaky, oily skin, and get those lumps all over their skin. By the time they're 10 years old, they will look jacked up, okay? And it's been some owners that gets to the point they have to euthanize them. And seeing this stuff day in and day out, this was just an extension from the real medical field, okay? All this was extension from the real medical field. All right. So y'all gotta understand the stuff that they put in the news, and they can't back up none of this stuff. All right. They never cause I was trained to look underneath the microscope and how to identify, viruses, bacteria, different types of yeast, and things of that nature, to identify what's causing the issue in the pets that were being brought in. Okay, so if an animal had a yeast infection in its ear, I know what to look for and see which yeast is causing that underneath the microscope. But when it comes to viruses, you have to use an electron microscope. You just can't use a regular microscope, okay? Because viruses are really small, okay? They're really small, so you have to use a special microscope, and that's what it's called, electron microscope. And those type of things will have to get sent off to a lab where they have that specialized equipment. So they would never let any of us look at that type of stuff. All right. And that's why you got, because me experiencing all of this stuff happened at that time, and how they dealt with this type of stuff, and tried testing, putting it out on the news and getting people all flustered, and then people is not diagnosing correctly. Okay, they just calling anything this one thing because it's being pushed into the news at that time. Okay, and then what happens is these hospitals get incentive for diagnosing that certain thing. Okay, because it's fitting the narrative. All right, so they get incentive around that. All right, and some doctors are cool with that because, they a business at the end of the day. But, some of us actually here to help the animals, okay? But once they start doing these type of things, confusing, the people who really bout this stuff, like who really be in the books and really be trying to provide accurate diagnosis to people and their pets, we was looking at this stuff like, wait a minute. Most of these dogs is coming in having like a normal cough or whatever, and then 3 days later, because I would call these people back, because I'm really in the field, like I really want to know what's going on. Okay, so I was in the privileged shoes of being able to figure out what's going on. So I would call these people 2 to 3 days after the appointment, see how Fluffy is doing, see how some people name their dog Doug. Okay, all these names. So I would call to see how they was doing, and I'm telling you, 90% of the time, okay, at least these dogs would be fine. Okay, but they would have a test over at the CDC or some a certified testing facility that is qualified to test for the CDC. Okay, so they can give them the numbers that they want to push. Okay, because y'all got to remember, they put these numbers into a computer system, like graph type of thing. And then anybody could input this information, by the way. Okay, because they know if they put it in a graph and it's coming from a so-called qualified source like the CDC, then they put that on the news. They know y'all is going to be like, from an emotional perspective, y'all not thinking logically, because they never show these viruses, okay, under a microscope, because that you can see a microscope. You can't, my fault. You can see a virus and under a microscope. Okay, go look up pictures of yeast under a microscope. Go look up pictures of bacteria. That's another thing we used to look for, is bacteria in the ears. We used to diagnose UTIs by taking a sample of the urine, and we look at the urine under a microscope, and we'd be able to see bacteria to confirm a diagnosis of bacteria in the urine for a dog if he's having symptoms. When they start telling these hospitals and the people in the medical field to only diagnose just off of symptoms, that leads to a lot of poor diagnosis. Okay, and because of the poor diagnosis and the whole narrative that they're building up, because y'all running off y'all emotional process and not thinking logically, okay, because they never show you guys this stuff. Okay, and I was in the medical field and they didn't even show us. They just put out the symptoms. Hey, if you notice these symptoms, hey man, just call that canine influenza virus, and right now they want to call it coronavirus. Call it that. Take a swab of the nose, and we'll tell you what it is. Okay, even though there's no new virus going around. Okay, because canine influenza virus at that time, they was acting like it was something new, but canine influenza virus literally has been around for decades. Okay, just like this coronavirus has been around for decades. Okay, and let's get more into the current stuff. Now that y'all know that I've had experience in the field. Okay, because a lot of these people talking, and y'all think they conspiracy theorists or whatever, just because they haven't been in there. But what y'all not thinking about is these news people And all these people is doing the same thing. They're just getting something that they heard and they was told to put out to the masses, and then they say it, and then they make money on the commercials and everything, since y'all emotionally connected to the news. Okay? This is why I don't watch TV. Okay? The only reason I watch TV or commercials is to learn from my perspective on how to put out advertisement on how to grow my businesses and see what works. Okay? Because clearly it works on you guys. All right? What they try to instill in you is fear. Because if they can't get you to fear anything, they cannot manipulate your mind. Okay? And this is why they have you guys eating so poorly. All right? Because if you was to eat natural, unprocessed, whole foods, you would not be all in this fear and anxiety. There's so many people on antidepressants and everything being diagnosed as depressed. Okay? But they still eating Baba's cheesesteaks, McDonald's, Wendy's, Subway sandwiches, all this bread, all these grains and everything, because y'all listening to the USDA food pyramid. Okay? That food pyramid tells you your 50 to 60% of your daily food intake should compose of carbs from grains. Okay? Don't eat too much fruits, because that's too much sugar. Even though all these carbs break down to glucose, which is sugar. Okay, but they don't break it down this way to you guys. They just say sugar. Okay. Even though it's different form. You got dextrose, you got glucose, you got fructose. What else? It's a couple more, but like they don't know anything that ends with OSE is gonna be pretty much a sugar, a simple sugar. Okay? And then they try to come up with these complex carbs and simple carbs. All carbs is carbs. Okay? And if they got that out there, they teach us this stuff in school. All right? To try to set us up for L. All right? Our ancestors wasn't eating a whole bunch of grain. We got winter seasons. You can't grow grains all throughout the whole year. You can't grow all this fake food throughout the whole year and eat that. And you still got some people, some tribes out here, indigenous people, that still eat the same way they've been eating for thousands of years. Okay? And what do they eat? They eat meat, fruits, and vegetables. Okay? But that's not part of the narrative. Okay? They need for you to be in a fearful, anxious, depressed state. Okay? And it's seeming like what they like to do is inch these things out incrementally to you guys. Even with this coronavirus, like Walmart was saying, okay, we're gonna recommend for our customers to come in with a mask. Okay, and then they did that for a month or two within the pandemic, and then they got to a point where, you know what, fuck it, we gonna make everybody wear a fucking mask. Okay, who knows if Walmart knows what people's doing behind the scenes? All right, that tells these news broadcasters what to do. And with these testing facilities, it's nasal swabs as well. Okay, they always go with the nasal swabs because that's where the secretions and mucus come from. Mucus comes from you putting things into your body that causes inflammation, and then the mucus is supposed to be there and start to increase production to that area so it can cool down that area per se. All right. So if you're eating Wendy's chicken nuggets, Shark's fish and chicken every day, you're going to have some mucus. All right. Eventually that's going to build up to a point where your body is going to say, okay, we need to get rid of this because he keep eating all this stuff. Start creating more mucus. Start coughing. Get the mucus out because we're starting to overproduce mucus. All right. So you start producing all this mucus and everything. You start coughing, having a dry cough from these foods. Okay. And that's why they like to, first of all, they had to set you up with the foods, tell you what to eat, or make it easy for you to eat terribly. Okay, that's going to cause you to be easily get into anxiety and fearful states. Okay, that's why we always talking about the mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Okay, and getting those things in check. It's hard to do that when you still eating these McDonald's meals, chicken nuggets, and noodles, ramen noodles. Because why do you think they hit y'all with the food shortages? Okay, they hit y'all with the food shortages. They took away all the meat. They took away most of the fruits and vegetables and left out the spoiled fruits and vegetables. Okay, so the fresh food was very limited. You think they did that shit by design? You think that shit was, it just happened? They know damn well they in control of what food they want to put out. They know damn well. So they had to hit y'all with that. So what a lot of you guys were doing was eating ramen noodles, macaroni, a lot of pasta and things of that nature. And a lot of people started gaining weight. All right. Y'all think it was from being inside the house and everything, which is partly true, but it was all that junk food y'all was eating. Okay, they still had meat. It was just in very limited quantities. All right, but they had to shorten it to, persuade you guys through fear into eating the terrible food. Okay, so they had to do that first because they need you fearful and anxious. So once they get that, they go ahead and start hitting you with all this, we starting to notice all these numbers and things. And you know what else is crazy from looking at these numbers? Because I make the same type of graphs. I know how to make those same type of graphs. You just look for the information or whatever, information you want to, or narrative you want to put out there. You just input these numbers and it's computer generated graph model. Okay, they like one of them that was popular on YouTube for a minute was racing bar graphs. Okay, you can just input the information in there. So one thing I noticed with these statistics is soon as it started leaving, like it just left China just all of a sudden. Okay, like within a week the numbers just shifted down. Like with the virus, okay, to put you guys in perspective with what I know, with virus, like a true virus, you don't have no control over what that virus is going to do. Once it's out there, like what they were saying, okay, these numbers is going up, going up, going up, going up. So it's in it, don't it sound like if something is going up, especially a virus that can be airborne and all these things that they saying, doesn't that sound like it's reached an uncontrollable, thing as far as numbers wise and who it can affect because it's out there now. And then within a week, all these numbers started going down in China and then it started going up in other regions, Italy, United States. And it's like, wait a minute, what? So how does it just leave over there? Because of stay-at-home orders? And then they started paying attention to what China was doing. And then the CDC started recommending that. Okay, and then they put masks into it. But throughout this whole time, they have not shown us a picture or anything of this virus. Okay, all they shown is just computer animated particles of viruses, of what y'all would perceive a virus would look like. But that's not the virus. That's not the coronavirus. I want to see the physical coronavirus under an electron microscope. Okay. And that's why you got so many of these doctors coming out and saying, man, this stuff don't make sense. And a lot of people is waking up to, at first I thought it was some, really going on, but now it's some going on that it don't seem like it's a virus, because they got all these numbers. Like, something is going around hurting people because they taking out people's lungs. Okay, something's out there, but a virus, it doesn't have the characteristics of a virus. It seems like something that they have a little bit more control of, because they can push these numbers up when they want to, or push these numbers down. How all these people staying at home, got all these masks on, and these numbers are still steadily increasing? They 6 feet apart. And that's another thing. They trying to distance people apart and divide. You know what I'm saying? And another thing is, I don't know why it's so many 5G towers going up. Not to say 5G is causing the coronavirus, because it's just no characteristics of a virus out here, just based on the numbers that they're providing and how they put these numbers down and then make it go up in another area, and then they push a narrative of, oh, it's happening here now, we need to do more stuff here. Okay. um but it's something, and the only thing I see that is rapidly increasing, even though everybody's supposed to be staying home, businesses were supposed to be closed, it's a whole bunch of construction going on. Construction, and the main thing that's being constructed is these 5G towers in these metropolitan areas. You can look these charts up of, the progression of how, I would think so. They had it up for a minute, but Google and YouTube, Facebook, I don't know if y'all notice, anything that tries to even go against what they trying to put out, they've been just deleting that. Like on Facebook, I know y'all been seeing when they say, oh, this is false or whatever, which some people have been putting out garbage, man. Just garbage. They don't know what they talking about. They just saying some stuff that they, heard from a friend or something. But even if I was to say, from what I saw, you know what I'm saying, I put that out, they probably gonna flag that. Anything that has to do, and with YouTube, y'all saw how they was, deleting anything that had coronavirus in it. It could be good, bad, or positive, but if it was, CNN, ESPN, one of these main broadcaster, big, channels out there, like mainstream type situations, they would let them say anything. They can have all that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions. And I know for damn sure from my medical experience, being licensed and, being with my head in the books as far as how things work in the medical field, especially when it comes to viruses, they have the potential to isolate this virus and look at it underneath a electron microscope and show that to people to confirm that that is definitely a virus that's causing these symptoms. But for some odd reason, when they say these virus pandemics start to happen, they start pushing the news, they never provide that. Okay, now you guys may not know about how to view, you may not have even known that you can view a virus. Okay, but you can view them under a specific specialized microscope that they have the capabilities of viewing this virus under, especially if they having all these people test positive. Okay, take a swab of the same thing that you saying is positive. Take a swab of that, put it under a microscope, put it under an electron microscope, and tell and show everybody what it is that's going around hurting people, especially, taking these people's lungs out. These people are having symptoms of going up on a mountain and having oxygen deprivation. Okay? That's a very weird or new symptom of a virus. Okay? And that's why this is questioning so many medical professionals. Okay? Especially me. But to the regular people that's in the hospitals, they just run off of fear because they didn't go to school to learn too much as the registered or licensed, certified, or DVMs, which is the veterinarian side of things, um, PhD type people. Okay. Um, so I just want to let you guys know that it's definitely something hurting people. And all I can say is looking at it logically, looking at the numbers, looking at what has still been going on, everything, even though things were supposed to be halted, these 5G towers been going up. Not saying that's what's causing the virus because I don't, it's kind of hard to make a virus come out of 5G towers. Like that just don't make no sense. So I'm not backing conspiracy theorists out there, but I just noticed that they've been putting these things up. And I think I read somewhere that or saw some videos of some birds just dropping when they get around these 5G towers. I don't know if it's radiation that, messes up the atmosphere as far as oxygen nitrogen balances or things like that, because these people is being taken out for real and it's their lungs. So, you know what I'm saying? All I can say is just make sure you're eating meat, fruits, and vegetables majority. Um, get plenty of spring water and be smart. If you feel that you're getting a headache in these masks, let you breathe through your nose. Um, don't overdo it with the mask. Like some of these people be driving around with their windows closed, mask on and everything. It's not that serious. Just like I said and what I told you guys, they haven't shown anybody a virus. They haven't shown anybody the coronavirus. They can come up with all these computer generated images of a virus for these stupid people that don't know nothing. But for me and other medical professionals that know a thing or two, it ain't gonna fool us. But we do want to know what the hell is going around killing these people. Because, I mean, the total numbers of death is not even comparable to heart disease or something like that. But they need people to have disease to make money off of pharmaceuticals. We used to have people come in our practice, our veterinarian practices, and they would go in there solely to just sell us products. Okay, convince us why we need their products. Okay, it was all pretty much pharmaceuticals. It wasn't nothing like, oh, when a dog has, a car gets into a car accident, this is an amputated leg that has this advanced technology and we really think it's gonna help. It wasn't nothing like that. It was always some pharmaceuticals or something like that. So look, man, don't let nothing put fear into you, because that can change your reality. But that starts getting into the subconscious and the metaphysical things, because each one of you guys is in control of your reality. That's why everybody has different perceptions, okay, based on experiences. Okay, so if you perceive things a certain way, then it could be because you just don't know something. You don't know what you don't know. All right. So don't sit around here and laugh at people that don't know as much as you or may know more than you, because that's what happens a lot. You hear somebody saying something that you never heard before, and then you write that off as conspiracy. He's just conspiracy. He don't know what he's talking about. or something. And then y'all see this type of stuff. We never would have thought, everybody be running around with a mask 6 feet apart. Okay? With no signs of a virus, but they saying all these symptoms and they diagnosing everything. They diagnosing car crashes as coronavirus. They diagnosing heart disease, cancers, lymphatic cancers, lung cancer, all of these diseases that is caused by what people are eating. They're diagnosing the symptoms, okay? Not confirming that it is coronavirus. All right? But going off of diagnosis, off of symptoms. By definition, that's medical malpractice. So, I don't know if this leaves you in trust of what you hear from the mainstream, but my main thing is just to open your eyes and not trust everything that the mainstream is saying to you. Okay? They like to mix truth with a whole bunch of lies. Okay? That's why a lot of us went to college, came out of college. We was told all this time by everybody and their mama, you better go to college if you want to make some money, stay away from the bill collectors. But what do you end up in? You end up in a situation where there ain't a lot of jobs for what you went to college for, and you end up getting bill collectors chasing you. Okay? So all I'm saying is stay logical. Make sure you know what you eating. Stay away from the bullshit. That way you can keep fear at bay, keep anxiety at bay, so these people ain't got as much control over what you thinking. Because they not showing you anything. They ain't got you wrapped up in handcuffs. But if they keep doing stuff like this, and, people keep falling for the L, they gonna keep mandating things where you gotta do this, taking your freedom away, taking your income away, and then they give you a stimulus check. I don't know, man. And then we don't know. Some people talking about, they gonna start mandating a vaccine. For me personally, if they try to do that, they going to take me out. That's real talk. Cause I've had vaccines already, and I think that's why my body is sensitive to so many things. Okay, every time I get a vaccine, I remember a big old bump, around the vaccination site. Okay, and the only reason that would happen is because my body recognized it's a foreign substance that is not healthy for the body. Why is it here? We need to get rid of it. Okay? That's why I'm always talking about diet, listen to your body, and all these things. Okay? So, I'm going to put this up on one of my YouTube channels. It may get taken down. And then I'm going to have this up on my podcast. So, this is just to make you think. And some real talk shit. Straight in your face. Let's break this down. All right. So if you have an opinion or something you want to say, you can say it in the comments or something. Follow at the Linktree link that's gonna be in the description box or in the bio description section on the podcast. And I'll talk to you later. Peace, y'all.